Thank you so much. Folks, great seeing a lot of you here again. Thanks for coming to our West Coast K8. I typically do, let me click here, a lot of the industry trends and opportunities. I'm actually happy to split it. We have another trends coming on with Chris Costello. If you heard the voiceover to Please Take Your Seats, that's Chris Costello. He is awesome. That'll be in the afternoon. I love introducing these stories because they're not my stories, they're not our stories. We don't have to do surveys or look at eMarketer to figure things out. These are stories from you, right? So from our consulting group, from our one-on-one time talking about quarterly reviews and what are the challenges. These are the big things we've heard and we've talked with you over, I'd say, the last year, but really the last 6 months or so have really been accelerating. And I wanted to start, though, with a baseline to compare where we're going in terms of walled gardens, where we're going in terms of consumers. And actually, I'm going to start with the claim that where you are sitting now on this property has been one of the most profitable marketing investments, dare I say, for the 1910s and 1920s, one of the largest marketing programs, certainly in California, if not nationally. And I'm going to give you 1 minute on the history to try to make that argument for you. This is the view, not here, but if you walk out towards the end of the gardens and you walk and you see, for folks who know this, the Crystal Springs Reservoir, part of the Hetch Hetchy water system that supplies water to San Francisco, supplies water for Silicon Valley. This is the view that William Bourne saw that determined that he was going to build here. This view looked like his first mansion, which is at the center of the Killarney National Reserve, the largest reserve for nature in Ireland. And he had a huge mansion. And he would look out at the lochs and the lakes and the hills and the fog was key. And he saw this, and it reminded him of his mystical vision of nature, the different landscapes interacting, and he decided to build this house. And this house is a clone of the Muckrace House, which is still the center of the Killarney National Reserve. You get to Ireland, and you take pictures here, and you go there, you're like walking through the same house. And he did this very deliberately, because it was the power of nature coupled with the mastery of man, sorry there, old language, to create these gardens. It was the combination of aesthetic, European dominance of nature in a landscape that was fresh and filled with opportunities. And what William Bourne did every weekend is people would take coach and horse from the city to have garden parties in the same heat you're enjoying today. And he would wine and dine, and I'll tell you the success of his marketing program. Number one, it gave him control of mineral rights for about 100 area radius around San Francisco. Two, it gave him control of water. And he moved the Crystal Springs company down here, renamed things to be part of that brand. And three, it gave him control to lay the foundation of what in California is known as PG&E. All that was put together 1915, 1925 because of garden parties, because the cognoscenti in San Francisco and the people making decisions knew he could do it. He showed the success of mastery of nature, and he had the aesthetics to drive things the right way. Branding. Imagine 100 years of control of gas, mineral, water, and power rights in this region. So thank you, Filoli. I would claim one of the greatest marketing programs ever created. Now, our world is different. And when we look at two principles that I'm going to base this talk on, which is on authority and experience, we are in the midst of opportunities and trends that are radically different. I'm going to start with a small story. A place that I visited a couple weeks ago. I am a New Yorker, and I just bought my Mac, sorry, I am a New Yorker. 754 Metropolitan Ave in Brooklyn is the home of a bagel maker who is the only bagel maker that I've ever seen profiled on Business Insider. Scott Rosali's been making bagels for 30 years. And Scott Rosali is looking at authority and experience in a very different way than William Bourne. Scott Rosali is taking tradition and kicking it to the ground, because the bagels he makes are known as psychedelic rainbow bagels. Each layer of dough is colored differently. Each layer of dough has its own flavor. A snozberry is a snozberry. This is part of the process when he's doing things, and these are cut and twisted differently to make different styles. A normal bagel shop in Brooklyn can pump out about 200 to 300 bagels an hour. Scott does regular bagels, but these bagels, 20. He can't do more. And the crowds are lined around the block to get these. He'd love to do more, but his authenticity and his authority comes through craftsmanship, not tradition. Craftsmanship, artisan, not tradition, mastery. Any marketer would love for this story to be written about our products. This was taken from a New Yorker article, I think in November. I'll read a little bit out loud. A woman, a passerby, a native, goes to people in line. What are you all waiting for?
I'm told.
She's looking at the crowd. I see this line every day. It isn't just bagels, is it? This could be my mom. Here's the answer. It's the line for rainbow bagels, a little girl yells. It's the line for rainbow bagels. It is a badge of honor
Can we not
to be waiting in line.
enjoy this first?
Of course, she takes her phone out, opens Instagram, and shows her pictures from hashtag Rainbow Bagel. Here's the best part. A group of 6 20-somethings from North Carolina waited in line for over an hour. I saw this on Facebook a month ago, and I was like, we have to plan something. North Carolina. You've never even had a bagel, let alone a good bagel. You don't even like New York City. And you're going to go there because we got to have the experience. And let me take the other part of experience here, because we talked about authority. But the experience here is incredibly personal. Not abstract, relying on history, appreciation, looking at, oh, Versailles did it like this, but the way we do the fountains, it's gorgeous. But it's traditional, it's historical. Here, we are dealing with a group of people coming in and actually saying, this is highly personal. Why is it personal? Because as you're waiting in line, cooks from the kitchen are sent out by Scott to do turntables for the crowd, to tell jokes as they practice stand-up comedy, and to answer any questions about how the bagels are made. So the people in the back office go to the front office, and that's your entertainment. It's authentic. They're not necessarily good, but they're fun. They are fun. So think of the artisanship on the product, and think about the very personal experience that's being created. By the way, like you, I only get my news from social media, right? Because I worry about stuff. And you may not have known this. You might have seen pictures if you know these folks. Supposedly there was a baby, but when was it really born? And this is the unaltered photo. I actually got this, and it really is just supporting Megan's bagel craving. You see the rainbow bagel there. Truly, truly important. So that's the realness. So that's the theme I'm going to look at when we look at the trends and we look at the opportunities you can have, which is how are we looking at authority, and the consumers looking at authority very differently, particularly in their relationship to brand. And how are they looking at the experiences that are created? And what is really being valued? So I'm going to have this presentation in 2 very quick pieces. The first part is looking at which way the consumers are bending. Which way are they turning now? What are they looking at? And then we'll take a look at some of our partners who have these giant edifices we call the walled gardens. We'll look at both of those, and that will hopefully answer our question. So first, let's actually take these consumers who are working out and sweating, and they're consumers taken at an event by Lululemon. Lululemon has marketing aspirations that are not defined by 15% off this weekend only. They are defined by friends are more important than money. This is not your practice life and something for all of us. Sweat once a day to regenerate your skin, and I'm getting a whole new set of skin today. Looking forward to that. This aspirational marketing is not pablum that is thrown away because of Lululemon's investment in regional mavens. That's their name for it, who make relationships with studios and instructors and create experiences very often where they do not sell one piece of Lululemon product. They are about a brand that reaches beyond their consumers to be more than people who complete a shopping cart. One example of this are photos from last year from what is called appropriately, how many jokes can I make? Let's count, drinking game, Sweat Life Festival, honestly. This will occur again, I think, for the 4th year in a row in London. These occur around the world. In London, not this weekend, the following weekend. They brought 30 studios, 27 specialty instructors, and they offer these classes. Incredible facilities that they rent out. These are on tobacco docks right on the Thames. What do you get from this? What you get is over one weekend, 30,000 posts on Instagram from people talking about the instruction they got, what's really hot, and what a cool exercise is. 30,000 posts, 0 direct advertising. It's the authenticity of earned media and moving your audience through a highly personal and aspirational experience. You do not have to have a Lululemon loyalty card to join. We welcome you in. Number 1. Let's take number 2. Let's take Nordstrom. Nordstrom, incredible brand. But you know what? Times are changing because malls are different. You can be an anchor store in a mall, but you've got to drive 40 minutes to the mall. You've got 15 minutes to do parking, 10 minutes to get to the anchor before the Nordstrom magic on customer service and recommendation can apply. That's an hour and 15 minutes delay for the brand to have an impact on their consumer. So what are they doing around the Bay Area? In this area, there are 8, I believe 8 now have opened. Last year was 6. I think we have 8 now. Nordstrom local stores. These are stores that are neighborhood parking. The idea is they're 15 minutes away. You park in 30 seconds. Guess what inventory they have? 0. They have no inventory. The inventory is what you want. So, do you have a Nordstrom Trunk Club? It can be delivered there. Have you gone online and selected various items to be a rack? You do it, within a few hours, it's delivered from all the stores in the area to the Nordstrom local that's close to you. Why does that matter? 15 minutes gets you this experience. You have a non-commissioned person, stylist, giving you recommendations, helping you do the last mile on fashion, which for me is letting out things a little bit, but whatever for you, right? Making sure the fit is as good as can be expected, right? And giving you honest feedback. That is the core of the Nordstrom value. And now they deliver it in 15 minutes as opposed to an hour and 15 minutes. Radical rethinking investment in capital, radically rethinking what it means to have a store and to be e-commerce, radically thinking where you're going to be buying in terms of real estate. Huge investment. Number 3 and last one in terms of consumer. I do invest money. And years ago, when I started investing, I had this guy. This is a guy from one of the well-known financial companies who comes in with the suit, gives you the authority of his blue suit, shows you a laptop with incredible projections, and then basically, once you sign your money away, gives you a quarterly update. Gen Z doesn't work like this. Gen Z doesn't want anything to do with the brands and relationships of strangers that maybe their parents dealt with. Gen Z likes to get their hands on and to be empowered to make their own decisions, even if it's like what adulting class to do, whatever. Enter Wealthsimple. Wealthsimple, a number of fintech darlings, beautiful, approachable UI, no offices, Nobel Prize winner algorithm embodied in the AI with approachable colors, guided onboarding to help you start with investment. No one running on commission. Company has 60 people now. They're in Toronto. Here's a lesson for them, for those of you who doubt fintech marketing to Gen Z who don't even know what a checkbook is. 2 years, they went from 0 to $1, Dr. Evil, billion dollars under management. 2 years. No offices, no blue suits. Marketing to millennial and Gen Z about how celebrities struggled with investment and how you can take care of it yourself. Wow. So 3 lessons on consumers. When we look at authority and experience, we see the authority of aspiration. We see incredible experience of convenience, where it's not offline and online, it's all line all the time. And incredible approachability, often driven by AI, to have more trustworthy intelligence and recommendations than perhaps a human being, who you might doubt. Is there a commission structure? Why are they giving me that advice? So this is what's blowing up authority and experience on the consumer side. Let me go to the second half of this presentation and talk about our partners and your partners. Before I do that, I put one little thing in that I forgot, and I always want to do this to emphasize it, which is the way to think about this approach to consumer is typically different and more involved than what many of us are used to. Either we have a lead brand or we have a challenger brand, and we're looking at this as a positioning exercise alone. No, these moves are innovation strategy. These are moves which radically affect the business model. These are moves which require the marketing teams to align fundamentally with the CEO and the business strategy. You do not create Nordstrom Local as a fun marketing campaign over a quarter for the season. No. But without marketing, it fails. Never have we seen the coupling of marketing strategy and the emergent business impact than we have here. And Kaz will talk more about some of the folks, and let's say part of these are direct-to-consumer. Whether you are direct-to-consumer, you're fighting direct-to-consumer. Still, the population is small in absolute numbers, but 2 things really stand out to me. One is 95% of these folks say they're going to go back. They're having a positive experience. And the other aspect is 53% of these folks are highly influential. These are folks who are introducing and amplifying new brands, authentic stories. Think of Dollar Shave Club, think of Harry's and all these products. Quip for toothbrushes, all these things. My kids know about them before I did, because they see these through influencers, they see these on various channels. So that's the part that's changing on consumers that we're all trying to address. But let's go to the other half on how we do that, which is with the walled gardens, which, if I can do a zoom effect, are getting bigger. That's me, they're getting bigger. All right. What do the walled gardens care about? Care about personalization and increasing personalization experiences. Now, this is not me. I'm not here to announce new things before publishers do. So these are things that are publicly out there, and Kenshu's very involved in these to the extent that we can be, and I will say no more than that. So that's our job to you. Responsive search ads. Man, dynamic, highly personalized content based on the data, in this case that Google sees. Or take Microsoft and Google both looking at higher level awareness with audience ads and discovery ads. And really, starting with Pinterest and now everyone, is using that camera. Let's get beyond typing and let's say, I see that, I want something like that, where can I go and buy it? So incredible experience there and where consumers are. How about changes that are keeping up with consumers on social? Well, hey, we've had earthquakes going on at Facebook, right? Earthquakes in terms of looking on what's going on with WhatsApp, what's going on messaging, and the potential for more private inventory attached to a communication context. We're all waiting and seeing. Meanwhile, influencers have had their authority stripped a little bit because they're too good. You get Instagram pictures. No human picture can take this cupcake. It can't be too good. It's staged. So now, enter Instagram stories, which is still going like gangbusters. I think we were first to launch this terms of our product last year. Give me the shaky, authentic camera. See, I'm real. I'm staging the cupcake, and now you can believe me. Right? That's what stories are good for, showing that you're real. So, and I have a lot of shaky camera skills. If people want advice, I can give you mastery of that. Convenience, product pins, and product ads directly from these. Incredible. And let me just go back one in terms of mobile and e-com. The ability to extend Amazon's branding into your own brand and have your own store-like look. We look for a lot of innovation this year in terms of what Amazon offers. And enhance creative everywhere. I wanted to call this out just because I get to talk about Apple. Apple has enhanced the way that search ads work. So not only are you seeing creative when you're in the App Store, and by the way, Apple search ads, 50% conversions. Highly relevant context. But now they change the creative based on your search path and the words you used. So when you search, you see creative, it's more relevant to your context. Awesome, right? Maybe you can get to 60% now. So we'll see. So how are these companies and walled gardens doing it? They're doing it through two approaches. One is they are buying up every AI company or startup in the Valley, in Europe, and beyond. Over the last year, since 2012, FAMGA, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Apple, FAMGA, 124 AI startups. And they're going to use that AI to create more interesting information on data they have, and more dynamics and engaging ads that you're going to get to spend money on to reach the clients. Awesome. Thank you, FAMGA companies. But there's another side to that because it's a competitive marketplace. And that is that what is AI driven on? AI is driven on data. And from FAMGA, as we'll see, as well as legislation, the data that you're going to have access to is going away. So one, GDPR. By the way, I had to do a little research because I was wondering if Brexit ever happens. And I'm sorry to even mention the word if you're from the UK, I apologize. But if ever happens, because they can't talk about it, these are the British privacy laws that come up, and I can't recite the acronyms. California, we're innovative. We have California Consumer Protection Act. That's going to be like GDPR plus if that comes through. So that's not going away. But let's see the walled gardens themselves. Now, some of you might have seen this, and I will reveal a secret here. I am a formal Apple product guy. And I will say, Apple are the true believers here. You might say, oh, it's marketing, it's business. It is all of that. But it is actually that Apple is staffed with people who actually do care about this very deeply. And one of the things that we saw a couple years ago was Safari ITP. Internet tracking protection, right? And third-party cookies going away. We saw that with Safari. By the way, Amazon, no third party. Let me show what happened last year. Facebook, third-party impression tracking, gone. YouTube, third-party impression tracking. Firefox, third-party blocked by default. What about 2019? Safari ITB, I think this was February. They limited it from 30 to 7 days. Then they made it 1 day to get around, this is for the geeks there, the link decoration you can do on first party to secretly trigger a third party storage. Okay, all right, so that's, just see me afterwards, apologies. Okay, Chrome, lots of blocking rumors. Lots of blocking rumors that's going on. What does this mean pragmatically? Pragmatically, what you see on the top is desktop share. What you see on the bottom are browser share for mobile. If all of that continues in the pace, here's where we're looking at the end of 2019. We are looking not at 100% of data. We are looking at around 11%, and we are looking around 15% of the tracking data that your digital marketing may be used to. And you might think we've heard this, cookies going away. Folks, this is real. I had to submit these slides last week, but I squeaked in 4 hot off the press slides to try to make you believe. This is just from last week. Number one, Amazon. We saw the bit seismic. Well, it's being contested, but they're going for boost. What does that mean? All the mobile location data now not open, which is probably good, but Amazon walled garden potentially, right? Bringing where you are to what you want to buy even closer together. Think about not 2-day delivery or 1-day delivery. Think about how to do a half-an-hour delivery. Okay, just think about it. We're speculating. We're all friends. We're speculating. 2, Firefox. Not only by default, well, I got to do Google first. Okay, Google, having a reader mode that gets rid of those pesky display ads that people don't like to see. Guess what that occurs? When you don't see the ad, the tracking goes away because there is no impression. So more of that data gone thanks to reader mode. Firefox not only enhanced tracking protection by default, but now they're even partnering with a third party who's managing tracking websites and tracking cookie URLs to create more dynamic blocking. And even on Apple at the developer conference we just had in San Jose, developers who do sign on with Google or sign in with Facebook are now required by Apple to put in a sign in with Apple at the very top. And what does that do? When the user signs in with Apple, it gives the user the choice on whether to forward their personal identification or to forward faked out, anonymized proxy information that the user can manage and delete when they don't want to hear from the brand anymore. All at a fingertip. All managed with a thumb. Interesting. So, that's where we are. We are in a world with consumers who have a radically different appreciation of authority and artisanship, of experience that you can look at and walk through, or experience of convenience that you do day to day. And we have walled gardens that are becoming masters of AI, masters of data, good for consumer protection, but yet another challenge for us as marketers. So there are 4 principles that I've seen that often we've talked about with you. One is, this media needs to be mastered. This media needs to be mastered. Increasingly, this is not just a channel for acquisition. It's not just a channel for bottom of funnel conversion. It is a channel for loyalty. It is a channel for awareness. It is where the eyeballs are, and new products to engage consumers are being rapidly created with deeper levels of personalization that you will not be able to ignore. 2, concentrate the value. Whether it's the value of aspiration like Lululemon or the concentration in redefining what offline means that Nordstrom is going through, you've got to concentrate the value. Be like Wealthsimple. Put the value in the consumer's hand. Stop blocking and connect. 3, you need to think of loyalty and reward loyalty with best of brand. We know the benefits of churn reduction. It's easier to keep and to grow than to acquire new. But too many campaigns we have been involved with, which is great, performance marketers, have been involved with merely the bottom line and the bottom line efficiency. And not enough strategy at keeping and maintaining, because when you keep and maintain, that's often the best way to acquire. Guess how many new Lululemon customers are acquired because of the experience they create for their most loyal. That's not sending a deal on a one-on-one email. That is a blast across media that brings new people into store. Lastly, you need to build a sandbox for testing and learning. The requirements of marketers to get more data, to be able to measure on their own, and not just look at the siloed measurement, is going to be a challenge because of the issues that we set. But it is absolutely crucial if you're going to have an understanding of your audience, which crosses the walled gardens. So it's an area working with your data team, an area working with analytics, and an appreciation for experimentation that will truly unlock the possibilities that you have. If these principles are followed, you'll be able to make a garden, your own marketing garden, that can grow with experiences that your consumers will truly appreciate, and with an authenticity not based on a brand tradition, but based on the true value and artisanship that you represent as a product and a company. Folks, thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to share these with you.